Today, I want to speak a little bit about spiritual escapism or spiritual bypassing. How, in a sense, we are so far out of balance in terms of honoring our soul's paths here within our cultures that we tend to feel we need to escape to the other extreme towards the spiritual realms, towards wanting to understand and trust in what's happening in the universe, or just wanting to be in complete faith, partly because things are so difficult to feel here and now. So, I'm going to share with you my observations and a little bit about myself. I've been traveling the world for a number of years now, living as a global nomad and really integrating the teachings not only of this planet, but also of life itself, and understanding what it means to deprogram from this culture that we've been raised in. For me, I've been born and raised in Canada, and what it means to reprogram, to realign with that of our nature and that of divinity, which is our true nature. So I'm going to share with you a bit about what I'm observing about spiritual bypassing and this escapism, and the fact that we're needing to really fully integrate and understand that our spiritual soul's journeys are that of integrating and embodying, and that life itself is really supporting us to learn what we need to learn in order to integrate and embody and take steps, to take tangible steps of faith, of trust, now more than ever, and seeing how life is constantly asking us to learn, to grow, to go deeper, to go higher, and to recognize all that we desire furthermore here in this reality, not just for us, but for future generations, as it's also supporting our soul's evolutionary process of healing and awakening. So I can see that life can be feeling so difficult because our culture is so far out of balance towards materialism that we feel the need to escape the current reality in order to go to the other extreme opposite and just wanting to be in a world of spirit and spiritual and the lightness of its perfection, which is there. And yet at times, our faith, our trust, and our capacity to just feel what we're feeling or to receive what life is giving us, to appreciate it as a great lesson or a teaching rather than resist it or feel the need to escape from it. So, furthermore, we're able to be clear on what life is teaching us and how it's supporting us on our soul's evolutionary journey, that is not separate from one another, but in fact integrated in forcing us and supporting us to integrate and embody these lessons, to recognize the greatness that we are and the magic that we hold, to be able to transform darkness to light. Okay, so there's a big difference when life presents us with an experience. Do we resist it and feel, oh no, everything's perfect, everything's perfect? Are we able to really receive it as a gift and therefore be able to open up to process how it feels? So it's coming not just mentally in terms of receiving something and escaping, but physically in the body. How's it feeling? Emotionally, how is it feeling? Allowing ourselves to feel the depth of this experience of life on earth is part of why we're here and part of what we're having to understand and transform within ourselves. It's forcing us to understand the big picture of life in terms of the evolutionary process of life on earth and of our souls, in which we often have to go deeper in order to fly higher. So this process of healing and awakening and ascending towards higher realms, towards higher realizations, to see things more clearly within the views of God, within our higher selves, and to be able to recognize how that's integrating not only into our bodies and our capacity to receive emotions, to process them, and to really understand this process of life. So each and every day, each and every moment is an opportunity to gain these deeper reflections and realizations. And we can see, the negative impact of the bypassing is that we're not integrating or embodying, we're escaping the opportunity of healing within the emotional body, the physical body, and needing to really just be up in the mental field to jump to higher ideas, higher realizations. Like everything is okay, don't worry, just trust, just trust. We can tell ourselves these things, but are we actually feeling them? Are we actually integrating? Or is the body telling us the complete opposite and we're just cutting off from that and wanting to just be on this higher plane, and yet our body is deeply still stuck in the lower planes and the lower densities. And so now more than ever, you can see life is like really asking us to take such huge steps, because we've seen how far we've gone towards materialism, towards the depths of the shadows of ignorance in terms of separation and disconnection. And so this is the perfect place that we are having to feel the depths of this suffering, this pain within ourselves, within the lives that we've created unconsciously, and where we're at for as a collective for humanity. It's like, wow, really painful, really sad, really disheartening to see how far we've gotten, how we've become so disconnected and so lost from our simple purpose to to be here as love and to bring more love and light into this planet and support our children for the next generation to rise up. It's very, very simple. And yet we're so lost now, many of us, in our own needs and desires, and in some cases being stuck in this survival mode more and more, where we are constantly reacting towards what life has given us rather than consciously responding and choosing how to respond to each circumstance and create a life that we actually desire, rather than unconsciously continue to create a life that we think we need to create. So we're having to take such big steps to close this gap between our lower self, in a sense, our inner child as well, that has been maybe suffering and needing love and support, and our higher self, which is just in absolute trust and faith and needing and wanting to really be in complete alignment with that of creation, with that of nature. And so this process is a really big process to close this gap of these two parts of ourselves and to realign our lives with our higher selves. And it really starts with allowing ourselves to feel what we feel and processing them, allowing ourselves to trust furthermore in the process of life as it's being created through us. So as we're able to deepen our faith, we're able to just become stewards and channels and vessels of creation. So we're able to really align our lives furthermore to that of our higher selves and our true nature, which is that of faith and love, in which we are connected and co-creating life together here with the support of Creator, of God, of Source, and all of creation. So when we are aligned and working together, it flows so beautifully, so perfectly, so abundantly. But because we've been programmed to be in this other way of thinking, it's really in contrast and conflict to the natural ways, the natural laws of abundance, of peace, of freedom, and all of these parts that are really core necessities for us as humans and spiritual beings in this physical carnation. So essentially we're in a world that is working against our nature, and so this first steps of allowing ourselves to feel what we feel are so important, so valuable. Otherwise, we continue to jump back between these two realms of needing and wanting to be here in our higher selves, but feeling stuck here and unable to take the steps, not only internally but externally in our life, to realign. So it's a massive undertaking when you realize that this shift of consciousness that's occurring is like completely different worlds, different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different ways of responding and living in this world. So it's a lot to bridge within ourselves and within our lives. And it's a process in which we are here for, here in this generation, here in this moment in time. We are here to realign, to be stewards of the new way, to transition this darkness into light. And so it's a big commitment, and it takes a lot of work internally, and it takes the discipline to honor our paths as individuals and as a collective in ways that maybe the people around us aren't able to, they're not wanting to. And so it furthermore supports us to become quite strong and resilient and focused on our paths in ways that we can celebrate each and every step that we're taking, including being able to appreciate and celebrate where we are here right now in this moment as life is supporting us. What is it saying to us? What is it showing to us in our experience, in our external reflections, in the relationships, and what one is showing us in this mirroring? You know, what is life showing us in terms of our relationship to money, in terms of our relationship to our own value, our own worth, especially in relation to this culture, which is, you know, overly, you know, counting and needing this sort of materialistic reflection of abundance in order for people to feel worth and value, when really this value and worth comes from within ourselves. And maybe many of us are having to learn this without depending upon having lots of money, without depending upon having certain things externally, but allowing ourselves to recognize this love that we carry in our hearts, to know the power of this love, to trust in this love, and to allow it to be expressed through more freely. You know, this is a higher purpose that we serve on this planet, and we can run around trying to fit into a world that really doesn't align with us. And we can feel bad about not fitting into this world, or not being able to assert ourselves in this world in the ways that we were taught that we need to and should be. And, you know, it really comes from this idea that we should be placing ourselves above God, above creation. We should be manifesting this life that we're living. And we see what we're doing is putting ourselves above creation and the process of creation, and wanting to recognize ourselves as creators, but not really honoring creator itself. So if we are in faith, we'll notice that we can trust in the process of creation in relation to creator, in relation to source. We can trust that we are receiving what we're needing to receive, learning what we're needing to learn, as it's supporting us to take steps. And so if we can be in trust, we can be at peace, we can recognize what are those steps that we're being called to take in our life. What are we wanting to do to realign our lives? What really feels good in our lives, and the life that we want to create to nurture and support our health, our well-being, our happiness, and our capacity to bring love into this world, to support our children, to support life around us and our community, our friends, our family, and do the things that we really love to do, that we're really passionate about doing. And so hopefully we can recognize this purpose and live with passion and create a life with passion and of service, recognizing this impact, this power we have to bring positive love and change into this planet, and the fulfillment that we get from being of service, recognizing that everything we're doing serves this purpose of service, and how good it feels to instead give to this planet, trusting that we receive back so much more. So it's like coming into this flow of giving and trusting that we receive, and therefore we're able to experience greater forms of freedom as well, and abundance that comes from this ability to give and to trust and to create from this space. So here we are taking the steps simply laid before us here in the physical. It's the great test, and life has such a great way to test us, to teach us what we need to learn, and to see where we're at, where are we truly at here. And so we're in this really deep process, this sacred journey, this ceremony of life, in which we are passing through this initiation process to learn what we need to learn, but also to come to recognize the power of our faith as beings of love. Like, it is incredibly powerful, especially if we're living in this awareness of the journey itself and the ceremony that we're living, the prayers that we're living and bringing to this planet. This is the reality that we're actually living in, and it's far different from the man-made reality that we can be influenced by or feeling stuck in. That isn't actually reality. That is essentially Babylon. That's the man-made world that we can still find ourselves getting caught up and lost in partly because we now, most of us, depend upon the systems of Babylon to feed ourselves and to survive. But if we're able to really understand the laws of nature and work with these laws of nature, we can actually embody our truth and see that through that embodiment process, we are able to manifest, to bring forward that of which we truly desire, to have our needs met first and foremost, to have a life of passion, of service, of purpose, of freedom, and to be able to really follow the way, the guidance, and the support of creation, of Creator, and furthermore go beyond any dreams and visions that we've had, so that yes, we first recognize, I want to do this, I want to do that, and boom, 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 you'll notice these dreams happening. Furthermore, that your life becomes the dream, it becomes that of which you dreamed of. And from there, it's like, wow, what more can I want? Well, life will carry us and does carry us furthermore beyond those individual dreams, to take us deeper, to know what do we need, what do we want, what do we actually want to live for, how do we want to create this life. And life itself carries us further beyond our dreams, beyond our vision, to the vision that Creator wants for us, to appreciate and celebrate the adventure of life in which we are being carried, which we're being supported, which we are being given, so we can receive it and we can be it, we can become that of which we desire, to become that of the light in which we are stepping into, to be the love that we are, to be the love that we seek, to express it, to feel it, to celebrate it in each and every day and each and every moment. For this is why we are here. So I invite you, if you're not already participating in this process, that I hold a space of sacredness, of authenticity and love. And if you feel that you want to go deeper in your process of healing and awakening, to fly higher, then I invite you to join me as we integrate the cycles of life and the basic teachings of the ancient medicine wheel, because it's allowing us to come back to understand the way of life as we are a part of nature, a part of creation, and that life and the cycles of life are supporting us to heal and to awaken and become all that we are. So I send you lots of love on your journey as you continue your way forward, and know that I'm here of service as always, in support to the great awakening as we walk together. Because not only am I, but you are magic.